So thank you everyone for tuning in to Kanana show. So today with us we have special guest Anna. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself. Yeah.
So hello everybody. I'm
Yeah.
Anna Maria. I'm originally from Poland, but I have been a nomad since 2017. I've been also Digital Nomad Ambassador. So I work remotely like long before COVID. I worked as a project manager in digital transformation projects. And then I also started to consult on remote work, and I also help like destinations and organizations to attract nomads and remote workers. And yeah, so I'm full-time nomad
Amazing.
nowadays.
So what would you say for someone that just, starting or about to start his journey as a nomad?
For someone that's starting, like first thing is the income, right? Stable income, because sometimes people confuse like being nomad with actually having a job. So being nomad is a lifestyle, it's not a job. And then there is no such a thing like working as a nomad. Then you have to figure out how you're gonna sustain yourself. And that means like finding a stable remote job, or maybe freelancing or opening your own business. And actually in this order, because finding remote job is the easiest thing. Obviously, like finding your own clients or even establishing like, the whole business and processes is more complex. But it all depends like where you are. Maybe some people are freelancers already, in their countries. Then actually for them, like going nomad, maybe a different path that for someone that maybe was working corporate life. So it's really a bit individual, but of course you have to assure that this is stable, right? And then I would say that you should have at least like maybe for half a year savings, so you can live on that even if someone didn't pay or something happens. Like you should have that safety, I would say, economical. And once that is set, so that's like the most important part, then you can join, like I would say, nomad communities. Like there are lots of people, they travel individually, of course, maybe they go to remote places and there are no communities. But I think for someone that starts, it's really beneficial and it's really useful, because you don't really have to reinvent the wheel. A lot of people, like they have, when they start, they have the questions that other people already, they have the replies to that questions, right? Like they figure that out, they set that out, so you don't have to do everything by yourself, especially nowadays. Now you can really benefit from those groups. So they're like online groups. Some of them they are paid, some of them they are for free. There is a lot of groups in Facebook, so for a random question you can also like just go on Facebook group in the destination where you want to go. Then there are also communities that meet in person in different destinations, or they travel together. I'm part of them. So as many, as you can join, that's gonna be better for you. There are also like big nomad events, like festival of conferences. And I think like especially someone that starts, they are the one to benefit of that the most, because everything that they're gonna say is kind of discovery probably. So it's really worth to go then and figure out, and then you will like learn much more about this lifestyle, but also like, how to deal with everything, how to find friends, how to travel, how to be productive. So there are already a lot of knowledge and people that have that knowledge. And I think also something that maybe we shouldn't skip, because sometimes people can have like the right skills, to find the job or even to set their own business, but they don't maybe have the necessary mindset. So that's, if you don't believe that this is possible for you for whatever reason, like, and there is something blocking you, then you will find a reason not to do it, So sometimes we need to work on that first. Like you really need to believe that this is possible. So it's just like a matter of when and how we start. So this step also might be critical, I think.
All right. Yeah. And first of all, thank you for that. That's amazing. Like you actually gave, from beginning to the end, the most important things maybe to experts. So basically, what would you say professions that you can start right away without big skills or marketing skill, writing skill, creative, etc., 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 that someone can already start as a side gig and later on move onward to a full time and actually be full-time nomad with his job.
Yeah, but this really depends like what those people are doing normally, because nowadays you can find like the job that was maybe traditionally in office but now is remote, and it doesn't necessarily is programming. You can be nowadays like accountant or work in finance or be a manager and work remotely, so it's now a matter if you are fine with working for a company or finding a remote job. So this is like one way to go. If not, there are some maybe simple things that you can do. There is a lot of demand, for instance, for social media management nowadays, virtual assistants, everything that has to do with videos, video editing. I think so. Maybe those things, they don't necessarily require you learning like programming or maybe even basic design, but very basic. Or you also have this, I think they call it webflow developers, so they don't code. They just use the pages that they can design, like for instance, website data. So that's something that you potentially can learn maybe in a few months, right? And then you would need to get maybe first clients. You need to get outside your there, like build some portfolio. I would say like wait a little bit until you have some clients, then you start traveling. But that's also a way to go if you don't want to look for a remote job, right? So it really depends where you are. Like, do you already have some skills or at least some interest? Or maybe you have like already established career and you just want to continue, but you now will look for the fully remote job instead of the office job, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now obviously like thinking about going back is something that is impossible to go back like to an office life 9 to 5, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right.
And
Yeah, please go ahead, Tim.
and you know what, Ben? Anna is actually like an inspiration to her company because she was the first one to work remotely and set as an example to be a digital nomad in her company. And her company right now is actually accepting and pushing remote work as well. So I'm really happy, Anna, for you to like you really took the
Yeah,
step.
you've been the pioneer.
You really,
Yeah.
yeah, she really proved.
Maybe, yeah. Something that people also would like to know, because nowadays at least half of people would like fully remote job.
Mhm.
And when I'm saying fully remote, I don't just mean work from home, because a lot of those jobs, they just want work from home in one country, but they would like to travel. Actually, they want to have that freedom. But we only have like less than 10% nowadays, like opening that are fully remote. And I think it's even less because many of them are not really fully remote. Remote means that I can go whenever I want. That's remote. Because we have that mismatch, of course, it's better to get a job if you go that direction in a company that's remote first, because then you will need, they already have the processes set, they are prepared, they have the right mindset, they don't have that many meetings, they think about time zone differences, so everything is already in place. So you just, like one piece more, but something that's already worked. Now, that would be the best, but because there are not enough of those job openings, and maybe you can find something that you like as a job position, you are interested, or maybe you even have job already and you like it and you don't want to leave it, but you would like to be a nomad. So that's why we need to be also, I would say we have to lead that change, not only just like, take something that's already fully remote, and if not, then I'm not there. But it's, we have nothing to lose to also propose that if you, for instance, have the job, like if you can work remotely, and probably you will need to push, not just propose, right? And then you will be able to establish those conditions that satisfy you. And it's just like someone has to start, right? And someone has to show. Not everybody will be open, but some people might be open, and anyway, for them to be open, they have to be asked by enough candidates.
That's
like,
true.
can I work remotely? And then they, you know, start thinking, who? Of course, like, also depends who is asking, right? So in order for you to have a good position in a negotiation, you have to be a strong candidate. So they have to prefer you over someone that's local. How you get that? So you really need to acquire some skills. Like, you have to have clear what kind of job I'm looking for, what I can do, what I can offer, why I'm more valuable as a remote candidate than someone that's already there. You have to show them that you are better, and then, you know, it's on your side.
What do you think is the most important thing? Like, where should people start with when they actually looking to grow a little bit their, from a small business to a mid-size and even bigger, but keep everything online?
Yeah, so it a lot comes to the routines, right? Because when we start like nomad life, it's sometimes very chaotic, because then I have seen people like, you know, going without any plan, but you change the country and the whole life change. Your routines change, like you don't eat healthy, you don't do any sport, like you do your work at different time, and this is super hard because motivation, you know, it's unstable. So someday you may work more, but then the other days you don't feel like doing that. Distractions are so many, right? Because you are in a new country, you would like to go and see. So I think like establishing like the routines as a nomad, it's even more important than as a settled person, because when you live in one place, in some way, because you belong to certain ecosystem, you already have some, you know, patterns or routines. Like some of them your family set for them, or maybe your partner or your friends or your boss, and you just participating, and it works to some extent. When you know, like, leave the whole ecosystem and you go to another country, so you have to do that all yourself, right? Like being productive, taking care of the work or business area, then like your health, personal area, and then yeah, the social one, which were like the big three that you really need to think about it. And the productive one, the business, it relies a lot about having like the structure and the routine. So you can change the country, but your routine should stay the same. Like, you work within these hours, you know, like you should find like the time to exercise, you should eat healthy no matter what. And it also may help like to have a group for some accountability. So if you go to, for some people, for instance, going to co-working hubs because they feel like more productive there, and they feel like surrounded by other people that works there, right? And they can also maybe even network and meet someone that actually will help them with their business. So that may work great. But some other people, they actually more productive when they are alone at home and nobody distracts them. So it also comes to knowing yourself. But whatever you find, you have to keep them. And then, like, you know, processes, automation of the things, that you don't have to do everything. For scaling the business, hiring the right people, right? Because a lot of people, they try to do everything by themselves, but then eventually the time is limited, and you are, you know, you may be actually good at some things but not so great at others, and you spend hours, like some people, they do social media by themselves, but they also write copy by themselves, and then they go to Canva and they try to design their own website, which is perfectly possible, but that it takes a lot of time because you are not expert on that. Not always it's so great. And the problem with that you are not working in your genius zone. Maybe actually, you know, you want to coach people, or you want to program, or you want, you know, to write, but then you are doing all of the other things, which you are not necessarily excellent at, but you are wasting the time that you could actually be doing what you really great, because eventually doing more of what you really good is, and doing less of what you are not so good, and delegating that, or, you know, hiring other people for that. And hiring doesn't even mean, yeah, just like, you know, for a few hours for something. It doesn't even has to be big decision like I need to hire someone for it. But scaling will be a lot about that, like, you know, organizing and focusing on what's really important, setting like the right processes, acquiring like the skills for actually business management, not just selling your product. and then getting the people on board, like once you have some budget for that, like getting the right people.
And that's it, Anna. Any last thing that you would like to say to the community?
So, well, if someone wants to connect with me, then you can find me on LinkedIn. You know, like if there are any questions, if someone is interested in Cape Verde, I can also share a link. We have this program. And yeah, so I'm happy to share and to help. And yeah, follow Kurlini Kanana for more. And we're gonna continue. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Anna.